Happened in the 90s.
Matt was the fat kid, Steve was the black kid. Life wasn't always great, but you know what was? The 90s. Happened in the 90s. Yeah!
1999, that 70s show is airing season 1, episode 20, A New Hope. The gang goes to see the movie Star Wars. Eric's childhood rival comes to town. ...
I wonder, when did the Phantom Menace come out? Because one thing that it's kind of hard to realize now is that there was a time where Star Wars was huge. Everybody loved it for decades, but you couldn't license the property. I think the most that we ever got was that Muppet Babies episode, or maybe them showing up on Sesame Street. But this is a full on spoof, just collab with Star Wars and that 70s show. And this was a big episode. I remember this getting a lot of hype when it came out.
I mean, I think Phantom Menace came out in 97.
Yeah, Star Wars was coming back. I mean, also they just put out the redone original movies in theaters again. So they were trying to ramp up that Star Wars hype train again.
A long time ago in Point Place, Wisconsin. It's a time of upheaval for the Foremans. Red's hours have been cut back at the auto parts plant, and his holiday job with Bargain Bob is long gone. Kitty struggles to make ends meet, and Eric is in the throes of adolescence, which sucks no matter what decade it is. Am I right? Anyway, right now, Eric and his band of rebels are heading for a movie theater in Kenosha.
Going to see a movie with the boys. One of my favorite things in childhood, which was driving to the movie theater, getting a little stoned, maybe, just getting ready to go see a good ass flick. Kelso, he's like, dude, everybody's excited to see this except Kelso. And he's like, there's no way this movie's going to be as good as Planet of the Apes, which I love. I mean, that's hilarious.
It's based on a true story.
But we cut from the car. We see him actually in the theater watching it. And they're they just keep panning down the aisle. And you just see everyone just falling in love with this movie, which is how it was for me when I was a kid, Steve. I used to love Star Wars, to the most craziest extent.
Yes, I remember. And thank God you never became one of those kind of guys.
No.
You didn't go too far.
But the nerdiest thing I did with Star Wars is buy books that had schematics of the vehicles in Star Wars. And it was technical guy, it was bizarre, but I loved it, Steve. And the boys love it. And about everybody in America during this time in the 70s, I mean, this was that shit. This was the first one of these, really,
Yeah. I mean, the blockbuster, I think it became a thing in the 70s, man. And Star Wars was that. And by the time Eric gets back, he's sitting at the kitchen table with his sister and his mom. And he sounds just like every Star Wars fan that tries to sell that shit to me. Just gushing. Oh, man, you won't believe it. I mean, he's got this lightsaber, and it's a saber made of light. And he sawed his arm off. It's cool.
It's like a toddler. It's like a little kid getting excited. And then Leia did this, and then Obi-Wan died, and everyone's like, dude, just calm the fuck down. Red comes in, because as we saw in the title crawl, he's been having some issues with work, but he comes in just smiling ear to ear. He's got good news, because the plant going back to full time. And I love Kitty. She's like, oh, thank God. We were so close to losing the house. And everyone else is like, wait, what? Times were tough.
I like the reference to Kmart. That takes you back, man. Oh.
Is there an open Kmart anywhere now? Is that just completely defunct?
There might be one lone survivor, man.
A holdover?
Yeah.
But Red also tells Eric that, his boss, Mr. Milbank's son, is back in town, who Eric knew back in the day, but he set up a little, he's like, yeah, David's going to come over. It's like, I'm a fucking teenager, Dad. This is, you're overstepping. But I love that Eric's history with this kid is this kid had scoliosis, had all these issues, and he's like, "Yeah, I whooped that kid's ass."
Yeah, fuck his scoliosis. Fuck your bone spurs. And Red, like, he tells his dad, David, I hate that guy. Well, I hate his dad, but whenever I see him, I smile. And you'll do the same, dumbass.
And then we go to the basement. Eric's telling everybody about David and how he whooped his ass. And I love Jack. He's like, "Isn't that the kid with scoliosis and asthma?" And he's like, "Yeah."
Yeah, he kicked his ass.
Light work. Kelso, he wants to see Star Wars again. And he's trying to get Jackie to. And she's like, "I don't want to see that nerdy shit. Like maybe we could do something else, like a little, you know." And he's like, "What? That's not Star Wars."
We have our whole lives to do that, Jackie. This is only for the moment.
I mean, he's like, "The only thing I want to handle is a lightsaber, okay? And you should too. So fuck off." I think she leaves at this point, right? It's like Jackie's just gone.
They both leave.
Okay.
You know, she leaves and he heads after her. And, you know, Fez is there like, glad they're gone. Now it's just the three of us. And Eric's just like, dude, oh, I get it. If I wasn't here, you'd be kissing on Donna. Too bad.
Well, then another cockblock shows up. David shows up finally. And David looks like he's in like the Partridge. He's got like a Friar Tuck haircut. He's got the JTT almost. He's got like a little Farrah Fawcett. And him and Donna just have like this chemistry right away. He's like, "Oh, he's still writing?" She's like, "Oh my God, yeah." And Eric's like, "Wait, you write?" You know, he's the buffoonish boyfriend.
Because he was so like allergic and, you know, just ill-addled and everything, man. They was expecting Millhouse. But Donna's just like, you know, David, you've grown up. Donna, you've really grown up. And Eric's just like, "Oh yeah, enough about us. So you still got that fucked up back, that spine, David?"
Yeah, and also we're dating. And Donna is like, "What the fuck was that?" Like, and I do like Fez at the end of the scenes, like, "Can I see your scoliosis? Can you see it?" Then we cut to the kitchen. And this is where shit gets hot, Steve, because Lori's in town, is in the house, Eric's older sister, who's a skank, and Kelso's trying to find some snacks, and she just like, "I'm bored," and she's got some nipples popping. She's showing some midriff. She's looking hot. And if I was not of somebody that would ever get this thrown at me when I was a kid, but if I could go over to a buddy's house and his older sister was doing this kind of shit,
I'd look like that.
I'd never go. I would never leave the house. I'd show up to help out in any way I could, just in the hopes that this would happen. So she's throwing it at him, Steve, throwing it, and he just wants to see Star Wars.
Yeah, Kelso's trying to be a good boyfriend. He's like, "Look, you know I'm dating Jackie. I can't do anything with you, Lori. Well, you want to see my appendix scar? Look, you know I'm dating what's her name? Like what was her name?
God, I think I'm getting appendicitis. What does that look like? I just want to make sure. Lori's fucking hot. Cut to Donna's kitchen. And I gotta say, Donna, I mean, I get Eric's at being a kind of a possessive douche, but you know what the fuck you're doing. You know, you like, this is a little bit too much because she's in the kitchen hanging out with David. They're reading her writing. Donna spills a little bit of soda on dude's crotch, starts drying it up. Eric comes in and he's hot. He's like, "Yo, what the hell?" And rightfully so, Steve. Rightfully so.
Like, you already feeling a certain way about this dude, and you go to your girlfriend's house and he's there. Like, that's already a red flag. Now she's all rubbing on him. And Donna tells him, like, "Look, just because David's paying attention to me doesn't mean he wants to see me naked." Donna, grow up.
You need to just ask anyone, Donna. Are you a rube? Is he really reading it? Just ask him a question about what he wrote, what your stories are about. He doesn't know. I mean,
You
come on.
know,
And you
back
touches
at the
his dick.
basement, yeah. Back at the basement, the guys are having their smoking sesh, and Fez suggests, "Hey, why don't you just let David have Donna? They look so good together."
Thanks, Fez. Hyde's like, you should just choke the dude out, which, I mean, honestly, pretty good advice. And Kelso basically, he's like, yeah, dude, you got like chicks love it when you fight for them. Okay, they dig that shit. Just look at Leia in Star Wars. He keeps bringing it back to Star Wars. He's like, look at Leia. And there's some parallel there, but Fez again. So I think at the end of the scene, he's like, I got an idea. You should just let her have him. Or they look so good together. It's just like, all right, Fez.
So he gets a punch. In the next scene, Eric is dreaming, or I should say, nightmaring, and he's Luke Skywalker. You're better at this than I am. And Red,
Yes.
who is he supposed to be?
Red's Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he's trying to impart like wisdom to Luke, Eric, but he's just playing with his lightsaber, Steve. Hyde comes in, he's Han Solo. Kelso's Chewie. Kitty is just some X-wing pilot who's using R2D2 like a vacuum cleaner, I believe.
Yeah.
And then Darth Vader shows up, who is David. You don't see his face, but he's got Fez and Jackie with him, and they're stormtroopers. And then Donna's Leia, but she's hanging out with Darth Vader because she's into that steez. I forget whatever happens, but everybody starts laughing at Eric / Luke Skywalker, and then that's like the key for him to wake up. But basically, he's just getting bitched out in his dream as Luke Skywalker.
Jedi dumbass. And Jackie and Donna are back at her house talking, and Jackie asked Donna's mom, like, "Hey, Miss Pizziotti, isn't it cool when guys like try to be possessive and act like they own you?" "Oh yeah, but mom, what about that feminist class you've been going to for the last week?" "Oh no."
Donna's mom can get it too, honestly.
Oh, day.
I didn't think I liked this 70s look, but yeah, a little. That's like some kind of. Where was the porno version of this at? Is there some sort of like, it's out there? Yeah, that 70s below. And then we're back in the backyard, and Eric asked Red. He's like, "Hey man," I think Red's there with Donna's dad, and it's Eric, and he asked Red. He's like, "Dude, can you please teach me how to fight? Because I gotta nip this in the butt." And Mr. Pinciotti just is like, the first funny thing he says is when he realizes that like Donna might date David, he's like, "There's no way that my daughter's dating some pretzel boy," because he had scoliosis, which I dug that, the insensitivity. But then he just keeps bringing up using a banjo to whoop ass, and I love that.
Where's he going to get a banjo? I don't know, but I saw it in the movie, and the guy got hit with a banjo, and he went down.
Yo, and Red's like, "No, Eric, that's stupid. Hit him in the groin." And then Mr. Pinciotti's like, "And then hit him with the banjo." In the groin or something like that. But he's got a hard on for banjos, Steve, and I get it. They pack a punch. In the basement again, and Jackie and Kelso are arguing. Jackie storms out, and Lori's in the basement, and she's ready to just pounce, Steve. She's still bored.
That's terrible the way she treats you. Kelso, I saw Star Wars, and I think it's the greatest thing of all time. You do? I used to think you were dumb, but I don't care. Well, I don't care either. And then they just make out, that's what he should have did in the kitchen.
I mean, she's throwing it at him at this point. So they're getting it on in the basement. In the living room, Kitty and Red are watching TV, and Kitty basically is like confronts Red about teaching Eric to fight because she heard about that. And Kitty is like, "Oh, you remember the time that you knocked that guy out in the library for talking to me? Knocked him out. Skin was glistening in the sun and your muscles were bulging, and she gets all hot in the pants, and her and Red go upstairs and they start banging, Steve.
Yeah. Making that bed spring go waka 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 waka.
There's 2 generations of fucking going on in this house right now, Steve. Eric, fucking sexless, but everybody else is just getting laid and paid right now.
I didn't even think about that, man. Yeah. Meanwhile, their daughter is tonguing down her brother's best friend, and David and Donna, they're sitting on the swings, and Eric pulls up again, and he's ready to stand on some business. Damn it!
I mean, this kid, like, there's no hesitation. It's almost like he comes out of the bush. He's like, "Hey, what the hell?" And Donna is like, "Hey, man, he's got no interest in me at all." And as soon as she says that, David's like, "Hey, wait, what?
Bullshit.
Why do you think I wanted to listen to your stories? I wanted to see you naked, okay?"
Because we're friends. Donna, get real. Yeah. And Eric's just like, yeah, see, I told you, like, these women, like,
I told you.
They're so naive, right? Like, you agree with me, right, man? Like, I see you. We're on the same page. And to think I was going to come over here and beat your ass.
You're pretty fucking cool, dude. Hell yeah. Donna storms off. So it's leaving the 2 fucking enemies, well, new friends. And David, I love how shitty he gets, because he's with Mr. Sweetie, but he's like, yeah, fuck that bitch. It would never work out anyway. And Eric's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Oh, I'm only here until my dad closes down the plant, And Eric's like, "What? Close down the plant? My dad's depending on this job. What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, my dad's only here just to like burn off inventory. And as soon as that's done, plant's closed." And Eric's like,
my dad needed that job.
He pops dude. I mean, the swing he takes, this is a Mike Tyson level punch coming from Eric Foreman, Steve. I didn't see it coming.
Well, it was warranted, because right when Eric says my dad was dependent on that job, and David says, well, he should have had a backup plan like my dad.
My dad could buy your dad. And he fucking breaks dude's nose. He fucking pops him in the chops, Steve. But I do like that he like gets hit in the nose. He's covering his face, and you hear like the dark, like the still a little intimidating. But Eric Foreman, dude, he stands on business, Steve. Fuck all the bullshit. He will throw down.
And he makes it back home, and Kitty confronts him like, I'm very disappointed in you for fighting. And he just has a brief apology. "I'm sorry, Mom." It's okay. So you know what that's about. Quick forgiveness. And on her way out, she pats Red on the butt, and Red stood on business upstairs in that bedroom. And Eric asked, like, "So where you guys going?" "Oh, well, we're going out for dinner and a movie, do some celebrating." "So what was that thing you were going to tell me, Eric?" "Oh, have a good time."
Yeah. He just lets his dad, he's like, he needs to have some good times before I drop the ball here. So Red's just in a post-fuck, just euphoria. I think they're going to see Star Wars. But Lori's in the living room or wherever they're at. And Eric tells Lori everything that's going on. And, it's like she takes it all in. She's like, "Man, probably not the best time to tell parents I flunked out of college. Yeah, it's crazy. Thanks for the heads up." And he's like, how are you my sister? Because he's Mr. Goody Two Shoes, and she's a hot college flunky. And I love that, Steve.
No, he's like, how are you the favorite? And
That's
she's just
what it
like,
is.
"Oh, I don't know. Pretty awesome though, huh?"
God, Lori. Yeah. If I was related to you, it'd suck. But if I was Eric's friend, I would come over every day. And then like in the credits, we see everybody like the Pinciottis and the Foremans at the movies. They are watching Star Wars. And Red's like, "This is a hop of shit." And I think he says like he's like, "Kid's on dope." He thought this was good. He must be smoking that dope. But it's like something flashes, a TIE fighter blows up, and you see him get it. He's like, "Oh shit, this is pretty sick." So just like everyone, Steve, just like you, I bet if you watched it and gave it a shot, you might like it. No, I'm talking about the old ones.
I did.
Yo, okay. Well, I stand corrected. But Red gets it, and Red, got some pussy that day too, Steve. So he wins. He might be losing his job, but he can still pop a couple into his wife like that. Pop,
Yeah.
pop.
And the guy that played David is Scott White, and he was in Mighty Ducks 2, D2, but I remember him as one of the city guys.
Oh, damn. He was one of the CITY guys, dude.
You can't see why. Roll with the city guys. Yeah.